For those who weren't there, and for those who didn't pay attention, the new look SEC officially went into play on Monday with SEC Media Days in Dallas. Greg Sankey took the podium first, and LSU, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina all took the podium after that. Lots of things to get to. I don't have the board, guys. I can't do Cooper Mays setting us up for first down, second down. Just in your mind, envision this as a 4-down scenario, because that's pretty much what we're doing here. So we want to start with what Greg Sankey said at the podium, and he said a few things. I wrote about it for those who want to see it online yesterday, but a couple of things. One is the new, and we actually did speak about this yesterday, so I'm not going to dwell too much on, but one is the new iPads on the sidelines. Just for those who are interested, I don't think this helps Tennessee. This actually hurts Tennessee. The iPads are going to give defenses a chance to adjust to offenses in much more real time, which benefits defenses struggling to keep up with the tempo. And Josh Heupel's staff doesn't do much adjustments anyways in games. And this is to help for in-game adjustments. So it's not that much of a help. And it actually neutralizes the helmet communication advantage that you have with the offense, because now the defense can communicate to linebackers, even if they can't huddle because of the tempo-based offense. So that actually hurts. It actually does hurt Tennessee specifically. He said all the political speak possible about expansion. He said we're 16 teams today, 16 teams tomorrow. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean they couldn't be 32 teams by Thursday. So we're going to play that by ear, but nothing really to read from that. The big thing for me for Greg Sankey, and this will be our first down, is that there's still no tiebreaker format for the SEC. Guys, we're in July. Okay, we are in the part, we're less than 2 months away from kickoff. The SEC has a 16-team conference with no divisions and an 8-game schedule for every team, and just the 2 teams with the best record are going to go play for the SEC championship at the end of the year. How do you not have a tiebreaker to determine that? Do you think it's likely or unlikely that there won't be ties for third or second very, very quickly? I mean, I don't understand why he's taking so long and why the conference is taking so long to work this out, but they haven't been able to work out their scheduling. I still think they signed a bad contract with ESPN. I think this is just more evidence of bad administrative leadership in the conference. And I say that as Dave's down there right now trying to work with administrators to get interviews. I'm fully aware of that. But there's just no way to look around that. The SEC has major issues when it comes to administrative leadership, and it only looks worse and worse. And you can't even say Nick Saban is strong-arming them anymore. Nick Saban, who is down there right now and who, by the way, gives superb analysis, he doesn't care anymore. He's not going to try to strong-arm the league to do things he wants. He's out of it. He's retired. People just can't agree on stuff. An 8-game schedule with no tiebreaker, no divisions is not sustainable long-term. Look, you might have 3 undefeated teams this year in the conference. Bold prediction down the line. We'll get there, but I can't believe that Greg Sankey still hasn't addressed this issue. Second down, Brian Kelly is making the same mistakes he made last year. LSU, for those who don't know, I thought they were going to easily be a dynasty under Brian Kelly. And the reason I said that is because LSU, since the turn of the century, when Mark Emmert took over and decided to bring their facilities into roughly the 19th century, because they were basically straight out of the medieval times, they have focused heavily. Well, they've been the easiest job in America, because now that your facilities are up to snuff, you can just keep kids in Louisiana, and that's the best football talent state in the country. They don't leave. You can wake up and win a national championship. This is how Ed Orgeron was able to win with the best team ever. This is how Les Miles was able to win a national championship. Those 2 coaches could never win a national championship anywhere else, particularly Les Miles. At least Ed Orgeron was a recruiter. They both won one at LSU. So I thought with Brian Kelly, a coach with brain cells, they were going to have a dynasty underway. And the offense did show that it should be last year with Jaden Daniels. The problem was the defense. Harold Perkins had moved over to middle linebacker. He's a true edge rusher. This is just like when Tennessee moved Leonard Little over to middle linebacker in 1997. When Little was a true edge rusher, it was stupid for Brian Kelly to do that, and the defense was historically bad as a result, which is why they were a 3-loss team and not a national title team last year. Well, Brian Kelly said on Monday that the focus in the offseason was Harold Perkins getting bigger to be able to get off blocks and retooling the defensive staff. Newsflash, I think Harold Perkins struggled at middle linebacker because he was already too big, he belongs on the edge. If you're going to get him bigger, that could be to move him inside or just keep him on the edge and keep him much more effective if he's still fast. I think this is LSU saying we're going to make the same mistake as last year. Their offense should still be great. They expect loads of touchdowns, as Brian Kelly said, with Garrett Nussmeier replacing Jane Daniels. But once again, it may not matter because the middle linebacker issue is real, and they're putting the wrong player at middle linebacker. So I am still wrong about LSU and the Dynasty I thought they would have because Brian Kelly's making a key mistake. On the other hand, somebody who's maximizing possibilities at a school, Ole Miss expectations are sky high. Jaxson Dart and Lane Kiffin took the stage on Monday, and they both seem to be very high on their program. Jaxson Dart said that Ole Miss is at its peak. For the record, that's not true. They were at their peak pre-integration with Johnny Vaught when they were winning multiple national titles in the early 60s. Of course, integration hurt them significantly because they were so hostile to it more than any other school in the SEC, and it kept them from being able to recruit nationally for 50 years. That's why they got rid of Colonel Reb, the mascot, for those who don't know. It was killing them in recruiting. And ever since they've gotten rid of it, they've actually had top 10 programs since then with Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin. Jaxson Dart says, the quarterback says Ole Miss is at its peak. I would say maybe in the modern era, Ole Miss is at its peak. It's possible if you want to say specifically the modern era, Ole Miss is at its peak. I might go with that. Lane Kiffin, obviously, a lot of the talk was Monty Kiffin and his father passing away. Our thoughts are with him. But Lane Kiffin said he's dealing with rat poison, the old Nick Saban phrase. So Lane Kiffin is walking around saying, oh, we're a powerhouse program and we are absolutely dominating and everybody's expecting us to win and we just got to learn how to be humble. That's what the whole thing of rat poison is. Dude, Ole Miss, yes, you made the 2 New Year's Six Bowls in 3 years. You're not a powerhouse perennial dynasty at this point, though. This is hilarious that Lane Kiffin says that. I think there's a little bit of trolling going on with that, with Lane Kiffin, because again, why would they have rat poison? That's like the reverse side of when, an elite 5-star quarterback goes and wins a national and he says, well, they said I couldn't do it. Yes, they did. Everybody said you could. For Lane Kiffin to say you're dealing with rat poison because of all the positive media press and all the expectations, nobody's expecting Ole Miss to be a dynasty or win the national title. We think they will be good through the transfer portal, but there are just some questions about it. If anything, the questions should keep them humble more than the rat didn't keep them arrogant. That just makes no sense. So Lane Kiffin is out there just, I think, saying stuff. That was third down. Cooper Mays with us in spirit to say third down. Before we get to fourth down, the show brought to you by Ray Varner Ford.
Cab 4x4 STX, $45,985. 24 Ford Escape, $30,962. 24 Ford Maverick XLT, $32,720. Ray Varner Ford, your East Tennessee Ford dealership.
All right, fourth down with Cooper Mays. Again, in spirit. The truth of the matter is Shane Beamer and Clark Lee really put on display how irrelevant Vanderbilt and South Carolina are in the SEC right now. Clark Lee showed that Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt because he bragged about retooling things and all the changes he made to make sure the program was better. Guys, remember, Clark Lee had a finish to 2022, went 5-7, and the idea was that, Vanderbilt is going to come back, and they're going to be a very solid academic program that wins in football, and Clark Lee's building something new, and he's different than everything about Vanderbilt throughout history. And then they went 2-10 last year, and they were horrible. So now he's changing things up. It doesn't matter. Vanderbilt's just not good. Shane Beamer, on the other hand, he came out, and he said that we're South Carolina. We have no ceiling. That's just delusional, and no one even covered it. Because South Carolina had, again, a strong finish to 2022 by beating Tennessee and Clemson. Spoiler alert, may have been because of the Connor Stallions Michigan scandal. And then last year they went 5-7. They're losing Spencer Rattler. There's no reason to believe in this program. Nobody even paid attention to what Shane Beamer had to say. So, truth be told, neither of these programs are relevant at this point. It's over. I think that SEC order has been restored, and with Texas and Oklahoma in the league, I just don't see South Carolina and Vanderbilt can go anywhere. I do think it's possible that South Carolina does not have a ceiling. Now, Steve Spurrier did almost reach a ceiling. I think a few more years, if he hadn't been so impatient, he may have actually gone further. But they were a fluke loss to Tennessee in 2013 away from playing for the SEC title, and that game would have determined who played for the national title between South Carolina and Auburn, as it did between Missouri and Auburn. So South Carolina's ceiling is, as we know so far, is coming very close to competing for a national title. But that's not Shane Beamer's ceiling. So even if South Carolina doesn't have a ceiling, they have one under Shane Beamer. And so it was laughable when he said that South Carolina has no ceiling. So that's just how that goes. That's pretty funny.